Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 20s as his country getaway. We're talking... Welcome to my latest case, Ghost Dogs of Moon Lake. To start playing, choose either Junior or Senior Detective. If you're new to adventure games or need some help, choose Tutorial. Okay, as always, your mission is to solve the mystery. You're going to step into my shoes and be my eyes and ears. It will be up to you to decide my every move. When you're in the center of a room, you can turn around in a circle to see the whole room. Move your cursor to the left or right edge of the screen, and you'll automatically move in that direction. You can turn off this auto move feature in the Game Setup menu. A forward arrow allows you to advance in the direction you want to go. Likewise, a back arrow allows you to take a step back. Sometimes up and down arrows will be available too. Give it a try. Find the forward arrow and take a step over to that round table to see what's there. I always carry my magnifying glass with me to scan for clues. When it turns red, I know I'm onto something. Move your mouse until the magnifying glass turns red, and then click to zoom in. The magnifying glass comes in very handy. When it turns red, you can use it to open and close things, pick up objects, and move things around. When you want to go back to where you came from or turn around, find where your cursor turns into an arrow at the bottom of the screen and click. Take a few steps over to the desk and look for my room card key. All right, when you find something useful in the game, you can pick it up and carry it around with you, like that key. Go ahead and pick it up. Want to try? Pick up the key. Good work, you're a natural. To use one of these objects, just move your mouse over it in the toolbox on the right and click on it. See how your cursor turns into that item? Now, if you click on the screen, you'll be using that object. Is that everything? Oh, I almost forgot one of the most important detective skills. You know, questioning suspects. In the game, you can talk to the people you meet. The conversation will appear in the text box next to the toolbox. The words of the person you're talking to will be in blue, and my replies will be in white. Select a question or a reply by clicking on it, and listen to what your suspect says next. Give it a try. Excuse me, miss, but I couldn't help but notice that you're doing an awful lot of snooping around. Who, me? Oh no, I wasn't snooping. I was just looking for a dictionary. I keep forgetting how to spell perpetrator. If there are a lot of words in the text box, you know how some people can talk. Those bars to the right move up and down so that you can read along. Some items that wind up in your toolbox will have a tiny eye beside them. When you click on one of these items, you can see it close up. Like my PDA, otherwise known as my personal digital assistant. It's the little gray thing in the toolbox that looks like a handheld computer. Move your cursor over it, click on it, and watch what happens. There, see? You get a nice big close-up of it. By the way, the PDA helps you keep track of what you learn in the course of your detective work. Just click on its scroll buttons to read what's there. When you're done, move your cursor down until it becomes the back arrow, click, and the PDA will return to the toolbox. Hang in there, we're almost done. If you make a major mistake, say you fall off a roof or blow something up, you can select Second Chance from the main menu to get back to where you were before you goofed. And if you get stuck or feel like talking to someone you know you can trust, you can always call Bess and George. Sometimes you can call Frank and Joe Hardy, aka the Hardy Boys, too. Oh, one more thing. You know how in real life you sometimes wish you could make time speed up? Well, in this game you can. Just head up the stairs in Sally's house and a dialog box will appear. If you indicate that you'd like to wake up at night, PM, the next thing you know, it's night. If you click on morning, AM, ta-da! It's a brand new day. So that's it. You're ready to tackle the case. I'll return you to the player challenge screen where you can start the game. Junior detective is not quite as tough as the senior level, so you might want to start there. You never know what you'll turn up in the game, so be sure to explore. Don't forget to trust your instincts and have fun. Good luck! Dear Ned, remember Sally McDonald, the woman who took those photos that Dad has up in his office? Well, she just bought a house in Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. A gangster named Mickey Malone built it back in the 1920s as his country getaway. We're talking major fixer-upper. Anyway, last night Sally called and she said she desperately needed my detective skills. She refused to say why over the phone. Naturally, I said I'd drive to Moon Lake immediately. But weird things started happening the moment I pulled up. First, this big tree fell down behind my car and has me totally blocked in. And then I discovered that Sally's gone. She left a note that suggested something terrible happens here at night. She's supposed to call me from her car. So here I sit, writing to you while I wait for the phone to ring. It's nighttime, and although part of me is dying to know what frightened Sally away, another part of me is starting to feel a little uneasy. I'll let you know what happens. Ever yours, Nancy. Leaves that appear on a fresh spring tree make my birth different from the other three. When swans drift by on shimmering blue, I'm the one who plays in the summer dew. When autumn's call brings out the deer, it is I who howls on mornings clear. And when winter comes and birds take flight, look to me to sleep through the long gray night. It's stuck! I need some sandpaper. Hello?
Nancy, hi, it's Sally. We have to talk fast because I'm in my car and my cell phone's running low, so we might get cut off. But did you see my note?
Yes, are you all right?
No, I feel awful bailing on you like that. You must think I'm such a flake.
I'm just worried about you. What's wrong?
I couldn't stand the thought of spending another night there. I knew you were on your way, but it didn't help. I just got too scared.
What's to be scared of? It's so peaceful and quiet here.
Just wait until it gets dark. Then you'll see. What am I saying? Nancy, you shouldn't be there by yourself either. Why don't you just go get in your car and go home? Or drive to Philadelphia. My aunt's got plenty of room.
No way. You've got me so curious, I wouldn't leave even if I could.
What do you mean?
A tree fell down behind my car just as I was driving up to the house. I'm blocked in.
Oh, the dead maple beside the driveway. Oh, they told me it was in danger of falling over when I had the place inspected. I just never got around to doing anything about it. Listen, call M's Emporium. That's a store on the lake. Emily knows everybody. She'll know who to call if she decides to answer her phone.
It's late. Won't the store be closed?
Where's my brain? Okay, look. I just bought a little outboard motorboat. I haven't used it yet, but the guy who put it in for me said it should run just fine. It's tied up at the dock out front. Just get in it and go. Go anywhere. Just get away from the house.
Why? What on earth do you think is gonna happen?
The dogs. Those dogs. Out of nowhere. They're outside howling and snarling. Teeth and claws. Horrible.
Dogs? Hello? Did you say dogs? Hello?
Sally McDonald
is currently unavailable. At the sound of the beep, please leave a message.
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy. Give me a call when you can. I'm at home. Or should I say at your home? Talk to you later. What is that? The moon's so bright, I won't need my flashlight. Something's out there.
Now look what you've done. Это была Стриксвария. По крайней мере, я так думаю. Теперь уже не узнаю.
Who are you?
My name's Red Knot. And if you've got a volume knob, I'd appreciate your taking it down a notch before you scare away everything from here to Lancaster.
I'm Nancy Drew. What were all those noises out here just now?
That was me, Miss Nancy Drew, calling in birds. And doing a pretty good job of it, too, till you showed up. Where'd you come from, anyway?
I drove in today from River Heights to visit my friend Sally McDonald.
Now, why would you want to do a thing like that? The Malone house is no place for one young woman, let alone two.
You've met Sally?
I talked to her a couple of times. But you know, the last time I saw her, she wasn't doing so good. She acted real anxious, scared.
Did she say what was wrong?
The dogs. The dogs of Mickey Malone. Legend goes that when Malone was finally arrested and hauled away, his 4 dogs went running off into the woods and were never seen again. People would just hear 'em, howling like their hearts were broken every night until one by one, they all died and went silent. But every time someone tries living in the Malone house, back they come.
What do the dogs do?
Every night, ever since she moved in, you could hear 'em howling. And some nights the dogs would appear outside the house, running around, snarling and barking and throwing themselves at the doors and windows. And then they'd be gone. They're buried in the cemetery just beyond the house, you know. Them and Malone both.
The dogs would attack her house?
It's like they don't want anybody but Malone living there. I guess they don't know he's dead. And so are they.
Did she ever call the police?
This isn't New York City, Miss Nancy Drew. All they got around here is one officious little park ranger. And all Jeff Akers does is sit around all day trying to figure out how he can get himself transferred out of here to a bigger park.
Are you a native of Moon Lake?
I just come to Moon Lake in the spring to look for birds. Got an observation platform just up the path, kind of my base camp, and I've got a little outboard down there on the lake. Left my car at the big dock up lake. Don't really need it.
Are those the ghost dogs?
Yes, ma'am. which is why I think it would be a good idea if I went my merry way and you got yourself back inside that house.
One more thing. The water in Sally's well needs to be tested. How do I do that?
Get a sampling kit from Jeff Akers. Ranger station's on the east side of the lake. Good luck, Miss Nancy Drew.
I better be careful. Looks like paw prints. This is not good. A face only a gnome could love. Oh, the key broke off. There's got to be another way to get this open. These look like dog tracks. This must be Red's observation platform. The boat's full of water. Those look too rotten. The spark plug is missing.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, did you see them? Did you see the dogs?
Yes, I did, and I can understand why you left. They were pretty frightening. But if it's okay with you, I'd really like to stay and get to the bottom of whatever's going on. That's why you asked me here in the first place, right?
Yes, but Nancy, are you sure?
Positive. Consider Detective Drew officially on the case.
I wish I were even half the trooper you are, Nancy. I have such high hopes for that house. All the beauty there, the wildlife, all the pictures I was going to take. It would break my heart to have to give it up.
I need you to tell me everything you can about those dogs.
They're black and they have yellow glowing eyes and they don't like me one bit.
When's the first time you saw them?
Well, let's see. I heard them the very first night I was here. I heard them almost every night, howling in the distance, but I didn't actually see them until I'd been here about a week. After that, they started appearing pretty much every other night.
Did they always come around the same time, or did it vary?
Actually, they always came around the same time. What are you getting at?
These attacks seem to involve a lot of choreography, which reinforces my theory that you're not being randomly attacked by a pack of wild dogs, but by dogs who've been trained by someone determined to scare you out of your house at Moon Lake.
Who would want to do that? My closest neighbor lives 2 miles away. My property is surrounded by the state park, but it's off-season, so hardly anybody is in the park. In fact, I bet I talked to a total of 3 people the whole 4 weeks I was at Moon Lake.
Which 3 people?
Let's see, the park ranger, I forget his name, kind of a pain in the neck. Emily Griffin, she's the one who owns that store I told you about. And I ran into this bird watcher a couple of times. Had a funny name.
Red Knot. I've run into him too.
Other than people I may have nodded hello to while getting gas or something, I swear those are the only people I've talked to at Moon Lake.
What about River Heights? Can you think of anyone there who'd want you to sell your house at Moon Lake and move back to River Heights?
You mean like an angry ex-boyfriend or something? Nope, I sure can't.
Since I'm going to be staying here a while, is there anything I should know about the place?
Well, let's see. I've got the water turned off because it's well water and it needs to be tested before I can use it for anything. In fact, if you could get that testing done for me, I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and watch where you walk in the living room. Some of the floorboards are so rotten you could fall right through. And I keep hearing these faint squeaks and rustling type noises coming from below the floor. I hope you're not scared of mice.
Your outboard motorboat is missing a spark plug. Is there one around here by any chance?
I wouldn't know a spark plug if I swallowed one whole. But you need that boat, Nancy. Right now, it's your lifeline. You can't use your car, and believe me, you can't walk anywhere because all the paths around the house end in this thick, horrible brush. You've got to get it fixed. Wait a minute. The bird watcher, he's got a boat. Maybe you could borrow his spark plug or something. Go down the path that's to the right as you look out toward the lake from the house, and you'll eventually see his observation platform. Try him at night. He never seems to be around during the day.
Who did you say I should call about getting rid of that tree?
Emily Griffin. She doesn't bother answering her phone sometimes, so don't call her. Go see her. Her store's on the west side of the lake. And brace yourself, M's Emporium is something else.
How well do you know her?
I feel like I've known her all my life. She's so open and friendly. She likes to make it sound as if Moon Lake used to be a major hangout for criminals and degenerates, which isn't really true and irks some people around here no end. But I figure she's just trying to make a buck.
How do I go about getting your water tested?
Try the ranger station on the east side of the lake. I've been told you can get some kind of kit there.
I'm curious. Why did you characterize the park ranger as a pain in the neck?
I left part of a ham sandwich on a picnic table once. Big mistake. From the way he carried on, you'd think I just made the FBI's 10 most wanted list. I don't think he likes me. Emily says it's because I wrecked his dream of becoming super ranger or something when I bought the Malone house instead of the parks department. Me, I think he just basically has a problem relating to people unless they're asking questions or breaking the law.
Where'd all that stuff in your tool shed come from?
It's just junk left behind by previous owners. Came with the house. I've been meaning to take inventory and start pitching stuff, but I didn't. If they ever make procrastination a crime, I'm done for.
The wall hanging in the living room with a poem on it, and those dog carvings in that cabinet above the sofa. What can you tell me about them?
Aren't they cool? They came with the place. Sold the clock. Apparently, Malone had them custom made when he built the house. In fact, they're all built into the house. They're still there because you can't move them.
Has the clock ever worked?
Not for me. Oh, but get this. One day, I was messing with the hands. You know, trying to get them to work. And all of a sudden, one of the 4 little doors flew open, and instead of a cuckoo, this dog popped out and barked 3 times. It's a doggy clock. That Malone, bad as he was, he sure loved those dogs.
Are you aware that you're the proud owner of your very own cemetery?
Yes. When the realtor told me there was a cemetery on the property, I went, ugh. But when I saw how far from the house it was and how small it was, I decided I could live with it, as it were.
Do you know if Malone is really buried there?
The realtor said the cemetery was just a sham, that there's nothing under those tombstones but dirt. But he may have just been saying that so I'd buy the place. The only way to know for sure whether or not Malone is there is to start digging, and I'm certainly not going to do that.
Talk to you later.
Keep me posted.
Well, it's Miss Nancy Drew.
Please, just call me Nancy.
I will if you keep your voice down. I just heard a cerulean warbler.
Really? Are they rare?
Еще бы. Редкая и очень пугливая. Надеюсь, ты не поболтать сюда пришла?
Do you know much about outboard motors?
Sure do. Only type of motorized vehicle that's allowed on Moon Lake. Heck, if it were up to me, I'd ban them too. Have everybody get around by canoe. Nothing like the threat of physical activity to keep tourists away.
Why don't you like tourists?
I came to see birds, not people. The more people there are in a forest, the fewer birds there are. It's a fact of life. Reason I like to come here is because nobody else does. It's perfect. Not a decent grocery store, restaurant, or motel for miles.
You don't happen to have any spare spark plugs lying around, do you?
What's a pretty young lady like you know about spark plugs?
Enough to know that the engine on Sally's boat is missing one, and that I'm going to be stuck here unless and until I replace it.
I might be able to help you out. After all, I was a Boy Scout. Be prepared.
But I don't want to leave you unprepared.
Well, just so happens I've got 2 spark plugs right here in my pocket. Question is, if I give you one, what do I get for it? I don't need cash, but maybe you could take a few pictures for me. Know how to use a digital camera?
Sure. What would you like me to take pictures of?
Birds, of course. There's a couple of birds I'm supposed to take pictures of for PEPSOB. That's People for the Preservation and Study of Birds. You can recognize them by their songs, which are on this tape, which you can play on my cassette player, which you're going to have to get from M's Emporium as soon as you get your boat fixed. Think you can handle that?
I know I can.
Here's everything you'll need. M's Emporium is up lake on the west side. Not that I'm trying to get you out of my hair or anything, but try not to come pestering me till you're done, okay? One more thing. You smoke?
Only when I'm on fire.
Oh, you're a spunky one, aren't you? Well, these woods may not look it, but they're tinder dry. One lit match, and the best bird habitat on the East Coast will go up in smoke. So watch what you do. 'Cause if anything like that happens, I won't be looking for birds anymore, I'll be looking for you. Watch yourself out there.
Nancy, how's it going?
Hey, Bess. How'd you know it was me?
Telepathy, of course. Just another of my many talents.
You are so full of it. She got caller ID, Nancy. So now, instead of hanging up on the geeks that always call her, she just doesn't answer the phone.
Very funny. So what's up?
Believe it or not, on some nights, this house gets attacked by a pack of dogs. Sally's so scared of them, she left me here by myself.
Did you say dogs?
She couldn't have, George. Dogs don't attack houses.
They were definitely dogs. They came out of nowhere and started leaping at the windows and scratching at the doors like they wanted to get in.
Maybe that was just their way of being friendly.
These dogs were not friendly, believe me, and they had glowing yellow eyes. A birdwatcher I ran into said they were ghosts.
Ghosts?
The man who built Sally's place on Moon Lake was a gangster. The birdwatcher said that the ghosts of his dogs show up every time someone new tries to live here.
The place is haunted by ghost dogs?
Like there's such a thing as ghosts. But it does sound like you've got another mystery on your hands, Detective Drew.
There's a private cemetery in the woods out back. Malone and his dogs are supposedly buried there.
Creepy.
And there were paw prints in the cemetery. Fresh paw prints.
Are you sure you're going to be all right there by yourself? We'd volunteer to drive out there and keep you company, but unfortunately my car's in the shop, and you know what a scaredy cat George is.
That's okay. There's really no room, and believe me, living conditions here are pretty primitive.
Scaredy cat, huh? You're gonna pay for that remark, dear cousin.
I could sure use a nice big hint right about now.
The boat's all bailed out. You should be good to go.
Just put your life jacket on, pull the start cord, and let her rip.
Bye, you guys.
Good luck, Nancy.
And stay in touch.
Hey there! Welcome to M's Emporium. I'm Emily Griffin.
My name's Nancy Drew. I'm staying out at the old Malone place. You know, the house Sally McDonald bought?
Now what's she doing inviting guests out to that old dump?
She's got a little problem she's hoping I can solve. But right now, I need a chainsaw.
A chainsaw?
What I really need is for someone to come out and remove the tree that fell in Sally's driveway.
I'll get Tucker Davis to take care of it. Gotta warn you, though. Tucker tends to do things in his own sweet time. So how come Sally ain't with you?
She thinks the Malone place is haunted, and after last night, I can see why.
I told her. I said, Sally, that old house is gonna be nothing but trouble. And sure enough, Malone's hounds have come back. Just when we all thought they were finally resting in peace.
When was the last time they appeared?
Seems like they show up every time somebody buys the place. So the last time would have been 10, 15 years ago.
Have you ever seen the dogs?
Nope. Don't want to, neither. Just hearing 'em howl's bad enough. Scares the bejeebies out of me.
I got the bejeebies scared out of me twice last night. Just before I saw the dogs, I caught a man named Red Knot prowling around outside the house.
The bird watcher. Comes in every so often to stock up on that weirdo food he eats. You know how them tree hugger types are.
It seemed to me that he was more into watching birds than hugging trees.
Yeah, well, whatever. One thing's for sure, he's gonna wind up with a dose of buckshot in his hind end if he keeps tramping through people's yards making noises like he just popped out of a UFO.
Mr. Knott did me a favor, and in return he asked me to pick up a cassette player from you.
Oh yeah, I got it right here. Thought maybe the old coot had forgotten he left it here. What else can I do you for?
These so-called ghost dogs left very real paw prints. I saw some near the cemetery that's by the Malone house. Have you ever been there?
Can't say as I have. Poking around cemeteries ain't exactly a hobby with me.
Does the name Waldo Matthias mean anything to you?
Can't say as it does.
Where do you find your... Achoo!
Bless you. It's all the dust. Sometimes I think it grows on this stuff.
You seem to be selling everything under the sun in here.
Best part is, I got most of this stuff for free. See, back in the days of Prohibition, that old Malone place used to be party central. Only way to get to and from back then was by boat. And when those boats dumped, on account of bad weather or bad driving or the feds suddenly showing up, well, everything from diamond necklaces to full bottles of illegal booze sank to the bottom of the lake.
I need to buy something.
You want it? I got it. Long as you pay cash, that is.
Right now, cash is kind of a problem for me. Do you think we could do some kind of trade-out?
You scratch my back, I scratch yours, huh? Seeing as how you're a friend of Sally's, and seeing as how I got some things around here that could use doing, I guess we could work something out. What is it you need?
Do you sell sandpaper by any chance?
I do, but Mr. Birdbrain was in last week and cleaned me out. Said he was tired of that observation platform of his giving him splinters in his hinter regions.
Think I could get some from him?
He's your only hope, but you better ask him for it quick. That deck of his is pretty big, and those squares I sold him are pretty small.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
Ew!
American goldfinch. Northern cardinal. Red-tailed hawk. Western tanager.
Hello, can I help you?
Hi, my name's Nancy Drew. I'm visiting Sally McDonald. Are you the park ranger?
Park Ranger Jeff Akers, at your service. Let's see, Sally McDonald. is the woman who bought the old Malone place.
That's right, only she's gone back to Philadelphia. Malone's dogs got to her.
Don't tell me she believes all that ghost dog stuff.
I saw them myself.
Whatever's out there, I'm sure they're no more and no less than exactly what they look and sound like. Dogs. Living, breathing, very noisy dogs.
Why do you think dogs would attack Sally's house?
Dogs can be trained to do almost anything.
Any idea what would make a dog's eyes glow yellow?
Something in their diet, maybe? Some oddball vitamin or protein.
As a park ranger, don't you want to know for sure what's behind these dog attacks?
Do you always ask this many questions?
Sorry, it's my nature, but would it be okay if I asked a few more?
I'm a very busy man, Miss Drew, but I am here to serve the public.
Do you have something I could use to test the well water at Sally's?
Sure do. Simple to use, too. Just pump some water into this vial, return the sample to me, I'll send it off, and in a day or two you'll find out whether or not your water's fit to drink.
Do wells go bad very often?
Depends on when they were dug. The older they are, the more susceptible to contamination they are.
This place isn't exactly your ordinary ranger station, is it?
It's also the Moon Lake Post Office, and it's the unofficial Moon Lake Museum of Factual and Natural History. I've lived here all my life, so I can't help but feel obligated to protect not only the area's flora and fauna, but also its past.
Which is apparently rather colorful.
As a member of the law enforcement community, I prefer to dwell on the positive aspects of history instead of on the activities of a bunch of glorified thugs.
As an officer of the law, can you think of anyone who might want to scare Sally off her property?
The woman who owns the shop across the lake? Emily Griffin? I can't prove it, but I'm pretty sure she's been dragging the lake in front of Malone's house for artifacts, which is illegal. It would be a lot easier for her to do her dirty work if nobody was living there.
Do you think it would be best if Malone's house was just torn down and forgotten?
Not necessarily. It's hard to ignore its potential as a tourist attraction. And if that's what it takes to draw more people to Moon Lake, I'm a reasonable man.
What do you know about the cemetery behind the Malone house?
People are buried there. Beyond that, what's to know?
Is Malone buried there?
That's the rumor.
The inscription on one of the tombstones reads Waldo Matthias. Does that name ring any bells?
Not in my steeple.
Would you mind mailing this letter for me?
Not at all.
Would it be okay if I looked around?
Please do. And if you have any questions, any more questions, just ask.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem. Oh, and one last thing. The deer mouse population has boomed this year, so please take precautions if you're cleaning out any area where they may have nested. They can carry some nasty diseases.
Thanks for the tip, Ranger Akers. No birds here. No birds here. No birds here. I must have scared it. Darn, it flew away.
You find all the birds?
I found some birds, but no matter how quiet I am, I've been scaring other birds away before I can take their picture. What am I doing wrong?
You're wearing those clothes. That's what you're doing wrong. You need to blend in, like me. Go back over to M's tacky tourist trap and get yourself some camouflage gear. Only sensible thing that money grubber carries.
I'm sorry to keep bugging you, but I need some sandpaper. Emily said you might have some.
Here, take it and scram. I was just about to call in a meadowlark. That was always Ruth's favorite.
Was Ruth your wife?
Good heavens, no. My wife had no patience for birding. Ruth was my dog. Border collie. She'd hear a meadowlark, and by golly, her ears would perk, and she'd cock her head, and she'd just come as close to smiling as ever a dog could.
Was she the only dog you ever had?
Yep. Wouldn't be worth the hassle anymore. Especially now that I'm retired and spend so much time at Moon Lake. The place is surrounded by park land, and Ranger Acres just loves enforcing the leash laws. There it is again. Take your sandpaper and go sand something, okay? How's the bird watching coming along?
I'm sorry, but finding those birds is harder than I thought it would be. Can you give me any tips?
You gotta look for them. This isn't gonna be any Sunday picnic, you know? And try early in the morning. That's when most of them are singing.
See you in a while.
Yeah.
It's stuck. It could be mice making that sound. It looks like a tiny hole. What's the combination? William Akers? I wonder if he's related to Jeff Akers.
Howdy, Nancy.
Any word from Tucker, what's his name? He hasn't been by to move that tree yet.
I'll give him another call. But like I said, the man marches to the beat of another drummer. A very slow drummer.
To make a long story short, I need some camouflage gear.
Got some right over here. One size fits all. But I'm running kind of low on bait. So if you go out and get me, oh, say a dozen little critters, I'll give you the camos.
A dozen little critters?
Worms, spiders, beetles, grubs. Anything that wriggles on its belly'll do. Just look under stuff. Rocks, logs, dead leaves. Should be able to find 12 in no time.
Do I need some kind of permit?
Things ain't quite that bad around here. Least not yet. Now, if Jeff Akers' daddy was still around, you might get arrested for cruelty to animals or some such nonsense. Joe Akers used to be the deputy sheriff. Real critter lover, that one was.
Joe Akers is Jeff's father?
That's right.
I found an old newspaper in Sally's house that contained an article on Mickey Malone. It really got my curiosity going. What else can you tell me about him?
Person you should talk to is Jeff Akers. He's got this historical museum thing going out at that ranger station of his.
I found this picture in Sally's house. Do you recognize anybody?
I'm guessing the guy's Mickey Malone, but I don't know who's that lady. Sounds like a case for our resident know-it-all Ranger Akers.
Guess I'll see you later.
Always a pleasure.
Ew!
You're back.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem. You're back.
I noticed you have a dog.
That's Yogi, who never goes out unless he's on a leash. Park rules.
I couldn't help but notice that he's about the same size as those ghost dogs were.
I hope you're not suggesting I trained Yogi to run around in the middle of the night barking and attacking houses.
I found a newspaper dating back to 1927 in Sally's house. Since you're kind of an expert on the history of Moon Lake, do you mind if I ask you some questions about Mickey Malone?
Not at all.
The article mentioned that a man named William Akers used to work for Malone. Is he a relative of yours?
No. Quite a coincidence, I'll admit, but no. I am in no way related to the head flunky of some two-bit gangster and his gang of thugs.
I found this old picture in Sally's house. Do you know who these people are?
The man is Mickey Malone, I know that. I'm guessing that this is his girlfriend, Vivian Burnett, I think her name was. And judging by the year of that brand new Ford in the background, I'd say the picture was taken in 1928.
She was probably as familiar with Malone's house and his dogs as he was. Think there's any chance she's still alive?
Tell you what, Miss Drew. Why don't I go through my files and see what I can dig up on this mystery woman? I'm a busy man, but like I always say, I'm here to serve.
I have that water sample. What do I do with it?
Just give it to me, and I'll take care of it.
I've been trying to take pictures of birds for this guy named Red Knot. Ever met him?
Oh yes, the Birdman. I'd stay away from him if I were you.
He seems pretty harmless to me.
He's a fanatic. He's got it in his head that Moon Lake would be the best birdwatching venue in the world except for one thing: too many people. Believe me, if there was a way to get this park shut down and all the homes on the lake torn down, he'd do it in an instant.
When and why was Malone arrested?
I'm sorry, Ms. Drew. As usual, I'm a little pressed for time. If you have more questions, why don't you sit down at the computer and peruse the Moon Lake database of fascinating factoids that I've put together?
What happened to Akers and the rest of Malone's gang after he went to prison?
Fortunately for Moon Lake, they all left and went their separate ways.
Thanks for all your help.
That's why I'm here.
I probably shouldn't mess around with this without Ranger Akers' permission. Howdy, Solver. Hope you're having fun. I just want to congratulate you for being one of the first people to figure out that Scarlet Hand was my next mystery adventure. For meritorious service and keen sleuthing skills in a Nancy Drew mystery, I hereby award you with this super-duper deluxe Easter egg finder. Wave it around in good health.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
Talk to you later.
Thanks again, Nancy.
Nancy, how's it going?
This caller ID stuff is going to take some getting used to.
I'm here too, Nan. What's going on?
Moon Lake is gorgeous, but it's so remote. The park ranger is the closest thing they have to a sheriff around here.
Park ranger? What's he like?
Which, as we all know, is Bess's way of saying, park ranger? Is he cute?
Not true, George. Nancy thinks everybody's cute, so what would be the point? Anyway, Nancy, you were saying?
His name's Jeff Akers. He's very helpful, polite, efficient, knowledgeable.
Sounds boring.
In fact, he probably knows more about the area than all the other residents of Moon Lake combined.
Sounds very boring.
What's he know about these alleged ghost dogs?
He thinks they're just plain old dogs that for some reason like to run around at night scaring people.
And what does Detective Drew think about the dogs?
I think Sally had good reason to be scared of them. I don't blame her for leaving, which leads me to think that maybe that was the whole idea.
Somebody had those dogs attack Sally in order to scare her away?
Why would anybody do that? She was there for less than a month.
You'd have to be a total creep to make enemies that fast. And Sally's one of the nicest people I know.
Ooh, Nancy! Speaking of cute guys, Frank and Joe Hardy called. I filled them in on where you are and what you're doing, and they're dying to hear from you.
Great. Did they leave a number?
Their number is 280-555-4865. Bess didn't recognize it when they called and almost didn't answer the phone.
Good thing my cousin here has a memory like an elephant, huh?
What's that supposed to mean?
Call them, Nancy. They're dying to hear from you. But remember, Frank's cute and all that, but George and I want to hear from you too.
Yeah, no fair discussing the case with them from now on and not with us. Promise you'll keep us up to speed?
I promise. This birdwatcher I met has got me taking pictures of birds for some survey he's doing. He's a bit of a grump.
Does he live nearby?
No, he just kind of hangs out in the woods. In fact, I only see him at night.
Interesting. He's in the woods at night. The dogs are in the woods at night.
Could he have had a reason for wanting Sally out of the Malone house?
Maybe. From what Ranger Akers told me, Red would like everybody around here out of their houses. He thinks there's too many people at Moon Lake and it's ruining the bird watching. Ranger Akers called him a fanatic.
Fanatic equals suspect in my book.
You two would get a kick out of the woman who owns this little store on Moon Lake.
How so?
She's a real country gal. We got this deal worked out where if I need something she carries, she'll let me do little chores to pay for it.
What kind of little chores?
Oh, like collecting bugs and worms so she can sell them to fishermen as bait.
Sounds delightful.
Unfortunately, she may not be as harmless as she seems.
Why do you say that?
She also sells antiques from the 1920s that she finds in Moon Lake.
Is that bad?
If she's been getting them by dragging the lake in front of Sally's house, it is. That's illegal.
You know what that means?
It means Emily Griffin has made my suspect list.
Because if she is breaking the law, she'd want the Malone house to stay empty so she can keep dragging the lake without anybody seeing her.
Did I mention that all the water in Sally's house comes from a well?
Ew, really? Does it taste like rotten eggs?
Not all well water tastes like rotten eggs, Bess.
I don't know if it does or not, because the well is so old, I need to get the water tested before I drink it.
Good plan. Nothing will wreck your day faster than a nice tall glass of contaminated water.
I found the coolest old newspaper. It's from 1927, and on the front page is an article about Mickey Malone and a man named William Akers.
Akers? Any relation to Park Ranger Jeff Akers?
When I asked, Jeff Akers said that it was just a huge unfortunate coincidence. According to the paper, William Akers was Mickey Malone's most trusted employee, his #1 go-to guy.
Where'd you find it?
You know how I always seem to wind up in houses with secret passageways?
Sometimes I think they follow you around.
Well, I found these hidden stairs leading from the living room into the cellar.
What's down there?
That's what's weird. The stairs led down into this empty space. There's some kind of safe in the wall and a set of stairs leading to a door that goes outside, but that was it.
Why would Malone bother hiding a staircase if it didn't go somewhere important?
I could sure use a nice big hint right about now.
To take pictures of those birds, you're gonna have to set your clock for the crack of dawn.
Crack of dawn. Just saying the words makes me yawn. I hope you're more of a morning person than I am.
Bye, you guys.
See ya. Bye.
Hello?
Hey, Joe. It's Nancy.
Nancy, how's it going? No, wait, don't answer that. Talk about the weather or something.
The weather?
Yeah, that'll give me time to grab the other phone and take it outside. Frank's washing the car. He'll kill me if he misses anything. Here, wait a sec. Take a break, it's Nancy. Hang on, he's putting the hose down. He's drying his hands. He's walking over.
Nancy, hi. What's up? Bess and George say you've got another mystery on your hands.
Or should we say, on your paws.
They told you about the dogs?
We made them tell us everything. Pumped them dry.
As you may have guessed, we're not exactly rolling in detective work here.
So you're living vicariously through me.
It's not the first time, sad to say.
What conclusions have you reached so far, Detective?
I'm convinced that someone is using those ghost dogs to scare Sally into abandoning Malone's house. If I can just figure out why, I might be able to figure out who.
Never hurts to look for motive.
If nothing else, those ghost dogs are very well trained. I'm watching to see who owns and/or trains dogs around here.
Good plan. But don't forget, a really smart perpetrator is going to make it look like he or she has no connection to dogs whatsoever.
But then a really, really smart perp might have dogs all over the place and not bother to hide it, because he or she would figure you'd never suspect anyone so obvious.
That birdwatcher doesn't have a dog. And when I met him for the first time, he seemed awfully eager to make sure I knew the story about Malone and his dogs.
Sounds like a suspect to me.
Bess said something about a good-looking park ranger?
Ranger Akers has a motive and a dog and a uniform, which is why Bess assumes he's good-looking.
I'm sure my brother here would say a uniform automatically makes somebody more suspicious, because most people assume that a uniform makes the wearer less suspicious. Right, Joe?
Right. Of course, then again, your really, really smart perp is going to...
Joe, we get the picture.
Malone and his 4 dogs are supposedly buried in a little cemetery near the house. They've all got headstones inscribed with when they were born and when they died.
That's interesting. Did Malone have family?
Not that I'm aware of.
Then who had the tombstones inscribed?
I don't know, but it had to be someone who had access to Malone's house and property after he died.
Sounds like this latest puzzle of yours is still missing a few pieces.
I seem to be getting nowhere fast. Anybody have any suggestions?
We can probably come up with a few.
But we're not going to make it easy for you.
After all, it's your case, not ours. No sleeping in for you until you get those bird pictures taken.
Later, guys.
Watch out for dogs. Just watch out, period.
How's the bird watching coming along?
See you in a while.
Shh, down a notch. Remember.
Hey, Nancy, how's the bait finding coming along?
Got 'em right here.
Well, now, you done all right for a city gal. Here you go. Hope whatever you're hiding from won't catch you. How you holding up?
Guess I'll see you later.
Keep on trucking.
Good news! I have information on your mystery woman.
You are incredible, Ranger Akers. What did you find out?
Her name these days is Vivian Whitmore. She lives in Las Vegas, and her number is 702-555-9137.
Where's Yogi?
In the run out back. Even out of sight, he's under my full control, as park rules require.
Have you gotten the results back from that water sample I left with you?
I meant to call the Department of Health today for a status report, but frankly, I've been way too busy.
How long have you been the Lone Ranger here, as it were?
6 long, very frustrating years. If I were in charge of just 10 more acres of parkland, they'd give me an assistant, and I could devote more time to the acquisition of more land and eventually put Moon Lake on the map as one of the biggest, most popular parks in the state.
Why didn't the Parks Department buy the Malone property instead of Sally?
She outbid them, the cheapskates.
Well, if those dogs scare Sally away for good, other people are bound to think twice about buying the place. The bank will lower its price, and you'll have your land.
You're insinuating things again, Miss Drew.
I didn't mean to insult you. In fact, is there anything I can do to help you out?
Tell you what, if you're serious about making amends, there's some boxes by the computer labeled with dates. They're from the estate of a local history buff. She kept everything from newspaper clippings to old photos to recipes for apple crisp. She put everything in envelopes, then numbered them by year using Roman numerals. Just put the envelopes in order by year with the earliest date in front. Oh, and if you're rusty on Roman numerals, there's an entry on them in the computer.
Okay if I read what's in the envelopes?
Don't go reading anything until you're through, or take my word for it, you'll never get finished.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Let's see. Jeff said the envelope with the earliest date goes down in the front of each box. Now that they're all sorted, I can do some reading.
Hello there.
I finished putting all those envelopes in order.
Excellent. Thank you, Miss Drew. And to show my gratitude, I've got something for you.
It doesn't involve Roman numerals, does it?
No, it's an honorary Junior Park Ranger pin. I keep them on hand so I can give them out to children whom I see demonstrating respect for park rules and regulations. A little bit of positive reinforcement. Unfortunately, I don't get to give them out that often.
Oh, gee, thanks, Ranger Akers. Thanks for all your help.
Always a pleasure.
I bet those were deer mice. Speakeasy. Joe Akers? Emily said Jeff Akers' father was named Joe. Maybe Jeff is related to William Akers after all. The dogs will lead the way. I wonder what that means.
If you're selling something, hang up right now. I got an air horn in my hand that could deafen a dinosaur, and I'm not afraid to use it.
Oh, no, please. I'm not selling anything. Believe me. Is this Vivian Whitmore?
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. You got exactly 5 seconds to state your business.
My name is Nancy Drew. I'm calling from Moon Lake, Pennsylvania. I just wanted to ask you some questions.
Oh, right. The Moon Lake Park Ranger said you might call. But you have to talk fast. An old friend of mine is flying in today from Florida. And when I say old, I mean old, as in 5 years older than I am. Don't bother trying to do the math, sweet stuff. You'll hurt yourself. So, that ranger fella said you found an old picture of me.
That's right. I found it in the cellar of Mickey Malone's old house on Moon Lake.
Moon Lake. Talk about your fond memories. I had a lot of fun there. Although I wasn't anywhere near as wild as most young people were back then. But I think Mickey kind of respected me for that. I was his gal for 5 years. He always kept birch beer on tap at that speakeasy of his just for me.
Tell me about the speakeasy.
It was in the basement, right there at Moon Lake. Feds never knew about it, but everybody who was anybody on the East Coast back then, actors, musicians, bankers, politicians, they knew. You weren't big time unless you'd made at least one trip to Moon Lake Mickey's.
Did this speakeasy have a secret entrance?
There was a lock hidden in one of the tombstones in that little cemetery behind the house. You needed a key to unlock it, and when you did, stairs would appear that led to the speakeasy.
William Akers, the guy you call Willie. He wrote about looking for the gold that Malone had supposedly buried on his property at Moon Lake. Do you know anything about that?
The hole-in-the-floor gold heist. Well, I'll be darned.
So it's true? He did bury gold on his property?
Truth be told, when Mickey told me he was the one who pulled off that heist and that he'd buried 20 gold bars at Moon Lake, I didn't believe him. I thought he was making it up. See, Mickey and I were on the outs by then. I thought he was just trying to entice me to come back. But if he told Willie the same thing, maybe there's something to the story after all.
Did he ever say anything to you about a map?
Yes. He said he was making a treasure map and that... the dogs. Something about those dogs of his.
They had something to do with a map?
He said he was making a treasure map, and that he was also having paintings done of each dog. He made it sound like one thing had something to do with the other, like he was giving me some big important clue. But I just figured he was playing games, trying to lure me back with mystery and intrigue. I told him to buzz off. Maybe I shouldn't have.
Did he say what he was going to do with the paintings?
He said he was going to hang them in the speakeasy, and I'm sure that's precisely what he did.
Do you have any idea how to get into Malone's speakeasy from the house?
I sure don't. That saloon was built using 2 main ingredients, concrete and secrecy. Mickey always bragged that nobody could get in unless he wanted them in, and I do believe he was right. But I'll tell you what, if you send me that picture of me and Mickey, I'll send you my key.
The key to the tombstone? You still have it?
It's in the bottom of my jewelry box. I've come this close to throwing it out 100 times, but it's so small and the memories it brings back are so big. Well, I just couldn't, as a joke. Mickey had a tombstone made with the name of this federal agent who had it out for him inscribed on it. That's the one the key unlocks.
Do you know anything about the safe that's in the cellar of his house at Moon Lake?
You must be talking about the wall safe. That was Willie's. By Willie, I mean William Akers, one of the guys who worked for Mickey.
What can you tell me about William Akers?
He was Mickey's most trusted employee. Mickey treated all his other men like dirt, but not Willie. He honestly liked Willie, respected him, trusted him implicitly.
Can you remember anything about Malone's dogs that might suggest where he hid the gold?
I stayed away from his dogs.
They made me nervous, always jumping around, barking at this or that. The only one I liked was, what was his name? Iggy. I liked Iggy because he was nice and quiet. He just lay on the porch all day and didn't make a peep.
It's been fun talking to you.
Anytime.
How's the bird watching coming along?
I just can't seem to find a red-tailed hawk. Any suggestions?
Well, there's gotta be lots around here. You haven't been going around wearing sunglasses and earmuffs, have you?
Where am I most likely to see one?
Well, according to my bird map, they like to nest in the big tree that's just to the southwest of the Malone house. I suggest you park yourself nearby and wait. Bound to spot one sooner or later.
Mickey Malone supposedly buried a bunch of stolen gold bars on his property way back in the 20s. Did you know that?
Really? That's interesting. I don't much care, but it's interesting.
Ever hear of a man named William Akers?
I know an extremely annoying park ranger named Jeff Akers, but I've never heard of any William Akers.
See you in a while.
Watch yourself out there.
Well, I don't see any hawks, but this is probably the tree Red was talking about. At least it was the tree. That sounded like a hawk. I need a camera. Hey, what is that hawk standing on? Oh, that looks like a speaker. Huh? I better get out of here. My arms and legs are tied. I can't move. At least I can kick. If I could just get that scythe down, I could use the blade to cut the rope around my wrists and free my hands. Can't just let this thing burn up. I've got to put it out.
Что случилось? Ты ведь не играла со спичками? Я увидел дым со своей площадки для наблюдения и сразу же прибежал.
I was looking at birds, and then I noticed something on the house, and the next thing I knew, I was locked in the tool shed and somebody was setting it on fire.
Ты говоришь какую-то ерунду. Наверное, это от угарного газа. Приходи ко мне после того, как ты выспишься и переоденешься. Мне надо тебе кое-что сказать.
Somebody tried to kill you?
I didn't say that.
Somebody knocked you out, locked you in a shed, set it on fire, and you think they were, what, just pulling a prank? Wake up and smell the hostile vibes, Nancy.
I guess it's just hard for me to believe that anybody would consider me to be that big a threat.
I should have never let you stay there by yourself.
Sally, I'm fine. I feel bad about your tool shed, though.
Who cares about the shed? It was full of junk anyway. I'm glad to be rid of it.
That's kind of the way Ranger Akers saw it, too. He showed up right after the birdwatcher did and ticketed me for burning refuse in a manner that endangered park property.
That man is insufferable.
Emily was nice, though. She came by right afterwards and wouldn't leave until I drank the tea she made for me.
Look, Nancy, one more time. If you want to leave, just say the word and I'll come get you.
Sally, one more time. I'm fine.
Well, then promise me you'll be careful, okay?
I promise. I'll be in touch.
You better.
Hello again, Miss Drew. Am I in for another interrogation?
I'd like to mail this photo to the woman in Las Vegas. Can you do that for me?
As always, I'm here to serve, Miss Drew. Just give it to me and I'll take care of it. I'm sure she'll be very pleased to get this back.
Sorry to bother you again, but did those results from the water test come in yet?
Oh, there's something here for you from the State Department of Health.
Oh my gosh, not only is the water bad, but it seems like the well may have been contaminated deliberately.
I wouldn't go jumping to conclusions without proof, Ms. Drew. I'm sure there's a far less melodramatic explanation.
What do you know about a man named Joe Akers?
Why do you ask?
I recently found out that William Akers had a son.
All right. William Akers was my grandfather.
And you don't want anyone to know that.
It's not exactly something I'm proud of. My father spent his whole life trying to make people forget what my grandfather was, and trying to make sure people who didn't know what he was never found out. I've been doing the same thing.
What did William Akers do after Malone was arrested?
I'm afraid you're going to have to excuse me, Miss Drew. In case you've forgotten, I'm a very busy man. I apologize for my previous behavior. As a park ranger, I strive to keep my personal feelings in check at all times, and That time I failed. It's my duty as a public servant to try to make it up to you. What would you like to know?
Did your grandfather ever find any gold on Malone's property?
If he did, he never spent it. He wasn't poor when he died, but he certainly wasn't rich.
What can you tell me about the gold that Malone supposedly buried on his property?
As far as I know, it doesn't exist. It's just one of those rumors people want to believe, so they do.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Nice Junior Park Ranger pen. You must really be on Acre's good side.
Do you know anything about the gold that Mickey Malone supposedly buried somewhere on his property?
All I got to say about it is, if there really was a bunch of gold buried somewhere and nobody ever found it, it's for darn sure nobody ever will. Not with them dogs up there.
Guess I'll see you later.
I guess you will.
Hello there. I owe you an apology. After you came up here looking for those red tails, I gave my map a closer look and realized it was more than 50 years old. Reason you can't find them is probably because their favorite nesting tree is gone. Finding that hawk's gonna be harder than I thought, so why don't you just give me back my camera and I'll take it from here? It didn't get burned up in that fire or anything, did it?
You'll be happy to know that I did get a picture of a red-tailed hawk. So here's your camera back. I got all the birds.
Thank you, Nancy. Nice work. You're a credit to your generation.
I never noticed those gas cans before.
I ran out of gas. So much for being prepared, huh? Well, that's all I wanted to tell you. I'm sure you've got places to go, things to see, people to pester.
See you in a while.
Just remember, eyes open, mouth shut.
A package just arrived for you from Las Vegas.
Great. Vivian sent me the key.
I'll dispose of the package. Wouldn't want to break any littering laws, would we?
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
It's probably not safe to go in there. It looks like some kind of keyhole.
Hello?
Is this Vivian?
No, this is Eustacia drop-off. Vivian's fixing snacks in the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, Eustacia Andropov? Harry Houdini's cousin?
Use the air horn like I showed you.
No, Eustacia, wait! It's Nancy Drew. I talked to you on the phone a couple of months ago, just after a friend of mine was kidnapped in St. Louis. I asked you questions about the theater where the kidnapping took place, the Royal Palladium, remember?
Nancy Drew. The Snoopy one. You're not dead yet?
No.
Most people, I talk to them one day, next day they're dead. It is an old age thing.
Oh, stop being so morbid here. Have some clam dip. Hello? Nancy? So you know Eustacia, huh? Small world. Well, what's up?
I got the key you sent me. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. There's just one thing. It doesn't seem to work.
Oh, where is my brain? The key unlocks the letters of the inscription. Just dial in the password and you'll be set.
There's just one more thing.
You don't know the password. I'm sorry. Eustacia and I've been playing canasta all day, and I guess beating her all those times took more out of my brain than I thought.
Next game, I win. Next game, loser pays for pizza.
Well, get out your wallet, sister, because you're going down. So, where were we? Oh yeah, the password. Let's see. It was the name of that federal agent, his first name.
Waldo?
No, not his real first name. What Mickey was always calling him. Baldo. That was it, Baldo. I always thought it was mean to call him that, especially since Mickey was starting to get a little sparse on top himself.
So I just turn the letters until they spell Baldo?
Yes, dear, but like almost everything else in life, it's trickier than it sounds.
Are there any other tricks to getting into the speakeasy that I should know about?
I suppose it's only fair to warn you about the tunnels, and the doors, and the dead ends.
Tunnels? You mean there's more than one way to get to the speakeasy from the cemetery?
Mickey had his men dig a bunch of tunnels between the speakeasy and the cemetery with hidden doors that opened when other doors closed, and lots of dead ends, so that if the speakeasy was ever raided, his guests could hide from the police. I was always terrified of getting lost, but you're a plucky girl. I'm sure you'll be fine.
It's been fun talking to you.
Absolutely, positively.
It's too dark. I need a flashlight. Oh, the batteries are going dead. I can't see a thing. I'd better go back.
How you holding up?
I need flashlight batteries. Do you carry them?
Yep. But you know, I've been meaning to make a purty display out of them packs of combo cola over there for the longest time. Just can't seem to get around to it.
I could probably do that.
Here's the way it should look when you're done.
Ta-da! One smiling goldfish. It's obviously never tried combo cola.
Hey, Nancy, this mean you got them cans stacked?
You bet. They look just like the picture you gave me, which you can have back.
Here's your batteries, and thanks, Nancy. How you doing?
Guess I'll see you later.
I guess you will.
Hello.
Thanks for all your help.
Not a problem.
Hello?
Hey, Sally, it's Nancy.
Nancy, hi. How's it going?
I'm afraid I have some bad news. I had your well water tested, and according to the health department, it contains a very high level of arsenic.
Arsenic? Somebody poisoned my well?
The health department can't say for sure yet, but if that is the case, do you have any idea who would do a thing like that?
No. And it doesn't matter. I love that house, and I am going to live in it. If that well's bad, I'll just dig another one. At least I will when I know for sure why bad things keep happening there. You are going to figure that out, right, Nancy?
You bet I am.
I knew I could count on you.
Were you ever told that Mickey Malone supposedly buried a small fortune in gold bullion somewhere on your property and that it has yet to be found?
Is this a joke?
Malone supposedly stole a bunch of gold bars off a train and buried them at Moon Lake. You never heard about that?
No. Could it be true?
Well, if somebody thinks it's true, that may be the reason they're trying to frighten you off your property.
How did you hear about it?
I found the journal of a man named William Akers in a safe in your cellar. He was one of Malone's closest associates. Ever hear of him?
Never.
In the paperwork that you had to wade through when you bought this property, do you recall ever coming across the name Vivian Whitmore?
No, I sure don't. Who's she?
A close friend of Mickey Malone's, or so it would seem.
Her name wasn't anywhere on the deed, I know that.
Talk to you later.
Keep me posted.
Hello?
Hi, Vivian. It's Nancy Drew.
More questions?
I'm afraid so.
It's Nancy! Eustacia says hi. Go on, dear.
It's been fun talking to you.
I'll be suing you.
Hello?
Hi, Frank.
Hey, Nancy. Hey, Joe. Pick up the phone. Joe's in the kitchen. Worked up a real appetite watching me vacuum out the car. Hello?
Hi, Joe. It's Nancy. What are you eating?
Sandwich. Either roast beef or really old turkey. Can't tell. Don't care.
So how's life as a dog catcher?
I'm pretty sure I know why somebody wants Sally out of the Malone house.
So come on, spill.
Apparently, Malone stole a small fortune in gold bars off a train and hid them somewhere on his property here. They've never been found.
How do you know?
One of his employees, a guy named William Akers, kept a journal, which I found and of course read.
Of course. Wait a sec. Did you say William Akers?
Who, as it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Whoa.
According to his journal, William Akers spent months following each dog around, hoping one of them would lead him to the gold. None ever did.
So they didn't go running off into the woods, never to be seen again after all.
Apparently, they stayed around Malone's house for years. William Akers went to the house every day and fed them until they all finally died.
But according to their tombstones, they all died on the same day.
Those inscriptions were Malone's idea. Akers was just following instructions.
And in all that time, William Akers never found any trace of the gold?
He made one mark on the map I found, a capital I on the porch of the house.
Any idea why?
He discovered that one of Malone's dogs slept on the porch all day, so Akers dug all around underneath it looking for the gold, but never found anything.
Let me guess, he marked the spot with an I because the dog's name was Ike.
Iggy.
Maybe the location of the gold doesn't involve just one dog, but all four in combination somehow.
The whole idea of relating dogs to a map is crazy. They're animals. They move around.
But they're also creatures of habit.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe I just need to know their habits.
Well, that could be a little difficult considering those dogs have been dead for more than half a century.
So if you guys were 600 pounds of gold bullion, where would you be?
Maybe Malone hid it in the speakeasy.
Maybe. The longer I stay in this house, the more it seems like nothing's impossible.
Keep the faith, Nancy. If that gold hasn't been found yet, all it means is that nobody as smart as you has looked for it yet.
I seem to be getting nowhere fast. Anybody have any suggestions?
Now that you've got a flashlight that works, you can check out that speakeasy.
Later, guys.
We'll be waiting.
Hello?
Bess, it's Nancy.
I know that. What's going on?
Get this. It turns out that Jeff Akers will be one happy park ranger if Sally sells her Moon Lake property back to the bank, and they wind up selling it to the Parks Department.
You think he might be responsible for all this ghost dog stuff?
He has a motive and he has a dog, although it doesn't look at all like the dogs that have been scaring Sally.
But it shows he knows something about dogs. Better pull out your suspect list and pencil him in, Nan.
I still say you guys should lighten up on him.
Hey, newsflash. I think I know why somebody wants to scare Sally off her property, and it has nothing to do with birds, parks, or artifacts.
So what does it have to do with?
Gold, as in 600 pounds of gold bullion.
Come on, Nancy, tell us everything. Gold is one of my favorite subjects.
Well, I found William Akers' journal, who, it turns out, was our friendly park ranger's grandfather.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Not as interesting as 600 pounds of gold. Go on, Nancy.
Have you ever heard of the hole-in-the-floor gold heist?
I've heard of the hole-in-the-wall gang.
Well, according to Akers' journal, in 1931, somebody stole a shipment of gold bars in broad daylight by dropping them through a hole in the floor of a moving train.
Let me guess. The thieves were never caught, and the gold was never found.
You got it. According to Akers, Malone masterminded the whole thing, and he hid the gold right here on his Moon Lake property.
You think it's still there?
It must be. Like you said, Nancy, that would explain why somebody wants Sally, and now you, out of there so bad.
I also found a map with the inscription, "The dogs will lead the way."
You found a treasure map? My gosh, Nancy. Secret passageways, buried treasure? You're like a magnet for that stuff.
The dogs will lead the way to what?
According to the journal, Malone left Akers the map and said it would show him where the gold was, but all it has on it is that inscription and some landmarks.
What kind of landmarks?
The house, the shoreline, some rocks in the lake, the pump, the cemetery, and it's crisscrossed with lines like a grid.
A grid? Sounds like precise locations are involved.
I think somebody may have deliberately put poison down Sally's well.
Yikes! What makes you think that?
The Department of Health found unusually high levels of arsenic in the water sample I sent them.
Somebody's trying to poison you with arsenic?
They said that?
It's apparently not unusual to find some arsenic in well water.
So somebody could be trying to poison you.
But you don't know for sure.
Right, and they may not be trying to poison anybody. They may want to contaminate the well just enough to force Sally to either go to the expense of digging a new one or forget the whole thing and leave.
And because arsenic is found naturally in well water anyway, you may never know for sure. Bummer.
Malone's girlfriend, Vivian, said that Malone hired an artist to do paintings of his dogs right around the time he was bragging about creating a map that would lead to his gold.
Have you seen the paintings?
They're not in the house, so either they're in the speakeasy, which I still haven't gotten into, or they're long gone.
Keep looking for them, Nan. If they were done at the same time as that map, they could contain some kind of clue.
I could sure use a nice big hint right about now.
Don't you want to check out that speakeasy?
Now that you have a flashlight that works, you can go through the door in the cemetery and look for it.
Bye, you guys.
Don't be a stranger.
Take care.
silly to try to explore this in the dark. Uh-oh. So this is the speakeasy. Wow. Those must be the spigots William Akers mentioned in his journal. If map is correct, the tree where Vitus would bark at the hawks used to be right about here. So Lucy would swim out to the shipwreck, which is about here. Xander played by the pump, which is right here. That doesn't sound good. It's some kind of lock. So you're the ghost dogs. You look pretty real to me. These dogs have been trained to act vicious on command. That's the speaker I saw in the house. I bet the dogs attacked Sally's house because high-frequency signal was transmitted to them through the speaker I saw on the roof. You've been trained to respond to a silent signal from this thing, haven't you? It's locked. The wheel is spinning, but nothing's happening. The wheel is gone. Something's missing here. I'm this close to finding the gold, I just know it. It's locked. It's locked. It's locked. 600 pounds of gold bullion. Wow.
Привет, Нэнси. И что ты здесь делаешь?
There's plenty of gold here. We can share.
600 pounds of gold bullion. Wow.
Привет, Нэнси. И что ты здесь делаешь?
I can't let Emily catch me.
There's plenty of gold here. We can share. Let me out of here, Nancy!
I need to get out of here.
Нэнси, постой! Давай поговорим об этом. Это будет нашей маленькой тайной. Ты поможешь мне, а я помогу тебе, помнишь? Нэнси!
The gold's all yours, Em. Enjoy it while you can. Dear Ned, as soon as I got out of the tunnels, Emily had left a door open. I called the sheriff. But when I led him back down the well to the room where I'd left Emily, she refused to leave. He and his deputies finally got her out, but one of them said afterward that if he had to choose between getting a bear away from her cub and getting Emily away from that gold, he'd pick the bear. What's worse, by the time they took Emily away, the place was swarming with reporters from all over the country. The commotion has scared away every bird for miles. I'm pretty sure Red Knot would like to strangle me. On the other hand, when Ranger Akers found out that 7 cars and 2 helicopters were illegally parked on park property and that he was going to get to ticket them, he was ecstatic. Tucker Davis finally cleared away that dead tree, which means I'm free to drive home. Moon Lake is beautiful, but I've had enough wildlife for now. Which reminds me, did I mention that those 4 ghost dogs are actually very sweet? They're so sweet, in fact, that Sally is seriously thinking about adopting them. How's that for irony? Ever yours, Nancy. Bess, hi, it's Nancy. I'm at this little amusement park on the coast. I wish I could say I was having a wonderful time, but the fact is, some pretty spooky things have been happening here. There have been some strange accidents, and the carousel, it starts up in the dead of night all by itself, like it's haunted or something. You know me, I don't get scared very easily, but I saw it myself, and I'll call you later. I've got to go right now.